Hello, friends. This is Dawn Boyani Sandberg, and I just wanted to make a quick audio journal regarding the reflections about what's happening with the Israel and Palestinian war. And I just wanted to quote a poignant quote that we've been hearing on social media, that an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. And the most recent person to use that this afternoon was Senator Bernie Sanders. And so I wanted to concur that I think all of us globally are absolutely terrified of the power and impact of this um, war. And it's very difficult. My mind goes back and forth right now with who is to blame and who did what to who and when and where did this originate. And it's mind-boggling and complex. And I would love if all of us could take a moment and make an aspiration for peace and for a ceasefire. Um, it's extremely dense and extremely complex. Most all of my political friends in Boulder immediately posted that they stood with Israel and um, you know support the Israelis and any type of action to support the IDF that our politicians here would immediately stand behind. And then there's a lot of talk right now about um, anti-Semitism. So I think it's really important, even though Israel is an ally, um, and we support them financially, and we support the military. And right now, it looks as though the first attack came from Hamas to the vulnerable Israelis, and we're having a retaliation. It's I'm reading up on it. It's much more complex, and there has been what looks like an apartheid against the Palestinian people, and it's been really, really hard to watch and to witness. But I feel that I need to watch what's happening from a lot of different stations and different news sources, just so I have a really clear picture, because there's so much bias right now. And that bias in our own hearts is pulling us apart and inflaming this ideological war. One thing I feel that it's particularly egregious is when people all think that they're on the side of God or divine, and these are essentially religious or ideological wars. Even in my own experience, I've had people, you know, if you're a vow breaker, you're an infidel, and I don't want to talk to you, and just this kind of hostility that comes when people think that they're on the side of the Buddhas or the righteous ones or the vow keepers, or they're the chosen ones, and the other one is the infidel or the, you know, dark person. When we polarize and use our religion for hate, even in Buddhism, that is a crime of humanness, and it's one of the worst, most deepest, profound crimes we can do as human beings. And I really feel like this is it's a religious war, and it's not easily solved. So all I feel that I can do right now, I've been writing to the president. I wrote to a lot of our representatives. I've actually wrote to the state of Israel. I don't dare write to Hamas because I feel that you don't want to be targeted by those folks if they're terrorists, just like ISIS. I don't think that there's really a point where I can negotiate with them. So I wound up writing to the representative for Palestine to the United States. So I'm just trying whatever I can as a activist housewife and a mom to be a voice for a ceasefire and for this conflict to be resolved sooner than later. I do know, um, the more that we watch and the more that our nervous system goes into hopelessness, if we are debilitated and anxious and hopeless, we can't be effective. And it's really, really hard. What we've had to watch and what we witness and what's happening to these people is unfathomably horrific. So, as a wellness coach, I think one of the biggest things that's really, really important is to do whatever we can to stay strong and to stay grounded right now, to do the self-care, to be really aware of what's happening, not polarize amongst each other, write to our politicians. If we are going to support Israel, make sure that it's done in a strategic and careful way where citizens are not in danger, rather than this sort of blank check of retaliation because they have a right to defend themselves. I think that can be very dangerous, and other countries are starting to encroach upon getting involved. And so this could, within a week or 2 weeks or three, it could just inflame and turn into something of great destruction. So all of my light worker friends, people who are involved with wellness, meditation, social change, it's really important if we can do our mindfulness practice and our prayers and our supplication, stay as whole and grounded as we can, but also act. Do whatever we can to work with peacemaking groups, Doctors Without Borders, NMSF. That's a good nonpartisan organization to give money to. Write to your politicians. Volunteer with whatever we can do to help this situation right now, to have a ceasefire. And I think we need to do more than think and pray and supplicate wrathful deities. And again, I don't think that the deities or gods or anybody helps anyone unless we act. So I call upon all of my friends to act with an open heart and with a clear mind, and make sure self-care becomes a priority right now. If we're shaking and samsaric and freaked out, we're only going to make more polarity and freaked out energy in the world. So it's a time where we could be invited to heal. And I have this vision that the gravity and depth and breadth of this situation, and how dangerous it could be if the whole region gets inflamed, because everyone's really afraid right now, maybe it could pivot and stop quickly. So that's what I'm going to aspire to and visualize, that there's a ceasefire. It doesn't matter who's right, who's wrong, or who owns what. If we bomb everything into dust, there's nothing to fight for. No one's alive anymore. So let's pray that the power and efficacy of our human conscience and heart and wisdom are stronger than ideological, religious wars and cultural wars. So I'd like to make that aspiration for peace and for a ceasefire, and for each one of my friends to do whatever they can. So thank you so much for listening. I'm sure everyone concurs.